episode of our podcast, our hockey podcast. I'm your host, Lazy or Some Lazy Guy. You can call me Mike. Probably simpler just to call me Mike. I'm joined here with Punch and NXGnick. You can check them out on Twitch. You can usually find them live during the weekdays. I know, Nick, you stream every morning during the weekday, right?
Yep, every morning, 9:30 a.m. You can find me playing just about anything, including NHL 22.
Sweet. And you also have a YouTube channel you just started?
I do have a YouTube channel. It's also NXGnick. I'm sure we can get all that in the descriptions for the YouTube video for the podcast, and we can drop stuff in the Twitch as well. So
yeah, and then
we'll
Punch,
get all
what
our
do you got
links
going on over there?
Yeah, so I stream 11 o'clock New Zealand Standard Time. I'm streaming anything and everything right now. And I'm hoping to make affiliate before the New Year's.
Good. Yeah, I just recently got affiliate myself. You can check me out on Twitch and YouTube, Some Lazy Guy 09, spelled as it's spelled here on my screen. And no Punch. I just recently got affiliate thanks to Nick and a lot of his community there. So I'm sure you'll get it very soon. I've been trying to pop into a lot of your Twitch streams recently as well. Hit me with the lurk or whenever I'm working or something. So anyway, we'll get started with the discussion. How we kind of got introduced to everybody. So I guess my favorite team is the Montreal Canadiens. I don't know if you guys can see in the background. I have like a banner on the wall. I've had it since I was like 6, but I don't know why. I kept it, so I guess you can see that in the background. So my favorite team is Montreal. Obviously, we've had a pretty rough season so far. But what's your guys' take on Montreal? Like, how do you guys see that franchise? Do you hate it? Do you love it? You kind of just in between?
Ponch, you want to go first?
Sure. I think Montreal's just in the middle of a rebuild, which happens to every team.
Yeah.
So I think at this point you're either in this position where you need to kind of phase out the older guard so then the younger guys can come in, because I think the cup run was a little bit of a flash in the pan, and yeah.
Okay.
I think it's look towards the rebuild.
I get it. All right, Nick, what's your stance on the Canadiens right now?
Well, first, in general, I really like Montreal. Montreal is one of my, I love when they're in the playoffs. I was actually just saying this today on my stream, that I love when Montreal and Detroit are having good seasons.
Yeah.
So and I think them going to the final was really cool last year. It's just a shame that, everything with COVID, not being able to have fans, it was a bummer, because if we got to see Montreal with a full building, that would have been so cool.
Yeah.
I'm
with you on that. Growing up in Montreal, obviously, I'm a Montreal fan. I live and breathe the Canadiens. It's almost Montreal is a great city to live in, especially as a hockey fan, because it's almost ingrained in your cultural identity. That's something a lot of other fans, I don't know how to explain it. Like, especially with the French culture, it's so ingrained here in Montreal. A lot of other fans might not understand the same level of love that especially the French Canadians here in Quebec have for the Montreal Canadiens. And they wouldn't even necessarily identify as French Canadian. They'd probably been identified as just French Quebec. That's just how it is here. And so you see a lot of things about the French language and how it has to be part of the Canadiens. You need the GM to be French. You need the head coach to be French. That's something that a lot of people don't understand. But as even an Anglophone, I'm mostly Anglophone. I am bilingual, so I can speak French very well. And understand it very well, but I completely understand why we have to have that. It's something that's important here, because to work here in Montreal, you have to be able to speak both languages if you want to work in the service sector. You just have to, because well over half our population is French. So it just makes sense.
How have we not heard you speak French on your stream yet?
It hasn't come up. No one's asked
me to speak French. Well, it's coming up now.
Je peux parler français si vous voulez, mais c'est un peu.
He's not capping. He's not capping.
So I can speak French. It's very English French, so I have a very strong accent. But it's something that's ingrained here in Montreal, and a lot of people don't understand, but it's super important. Like, I don't know if you guys heard this on the radio, but there's this one guy who called in, like, in tears, yelling when they hired Jeff Gordon. Like, he was in tears. Like, he was so angry. And so emotional, and I understand why. But, they're going to hire a French GM in the next couple of weeks here. They're going to hire, Ducharme, I'm praying, is gone after this season. He's been terrible. His decisions are, I don't even understand them half the time. Yeah. So hopefully he's gone at the end of this year, and then they'll hire a new French coach. to get some new culture in here. And then just to quickly touch on them, that we can move on to your guys' team. So Montreal has 7 wins in 31 games so far this season. This is the worst start in franchise history. A very good franchise in terms of its history, but sadly we're in the dark ages now. Arizona has a chance to pass us and put us last place in the league, which is not something I've ever seen Montreal in. And a lot of fans haven't seen for a long time, so it's going to be kind of interesting. Nick Suzuki leads our team with only 18 points. So this is a really rough season. We have a lot of injuries, but they're selling hope, and Montreal is still one of those teams that sells out the building even when they suck. So, if Jeff Gordon, he said he's going to build a new analytics department, he's going to build player development. If he follows through with that and hires the right people, French or English, I don't really mind, but I'd rather them be, the GM and the coach be French, and then have everyone else around them just be the best person for the job. I think Jeff Gordon could lead this team into a really good spot. So Nick, I guess we'll move on to you with the Rangers because Jeff Gordon used to work for the Rangers. There's a good transition there. What do you think of Jeff Gordon, and then also what do you think of your Rangers right now? He kind of built your team in a lot of ways. So what do you kind of think of Jeff Gordon, and what do you have to say to Montreal fans with him coming in, and then what do you think of your team right now?
Okay, and one real quick thing before we move on to that. I don't think Montreal will be the worst team in the league. Okay. I think Arizona's going to be the worst team. I think Montreal will go on a little bit of a run too. I think they're just going through a rough spot right now. And what's the deal again? What's the deal with Price before we move on? Is he playing? What's going on with him?
Good question. So I follow Eric Engels on Twitter because he's really good. So is John Liu. I like them both as Montreal reporters. They report mostly on the Canadiens, and it's looking like Carey Price is going to be shut down for the year. It's looking like it.
Okay, that hurts.
I think it's better than you think. So I would rather him be shut down for the year. Maybe get him in near the end. There was a rumor he might play in the Olympics, but I think they're going to shut him down for the year or have him play near the end when most of our team is healthy. Like, we're missing Edmondson. Petrie's still playing like garbage. Like, he still looks pretty hurt. Toffoli's hurt. Anderson's hurt. Armia's hurt, I think. It's just, we've been destroyed with injuries. Obviously, Weber's out. I think he's going to retire at the end of the year. But I think you'll see Carey Price come back next year. I think you'll see a Carey Price you haven't seen in a very, very long time. It's going to look like maybe not 2014 Price where he won everything, but it's going to look pretty. It's going to look better than he has in the past couple of years. I think he's going to look pretty good. He's, I don't want to say substance abuse because that's not how he looked at it. It was more just substance use that he was going through, because it wasn't really abuse. It's more like he was just overusing it. So he's dealing with that problem, dealing with some mental health, and then I think he'll come back rested, and I think next year we'll see a really good Montreal Canadiens team. That's gonna be very young.
Okay.
So that's what I think. I could be wrong.
Okay. Well, they only go as far as he takes them.
Yeah.
So without him, they'll be contending with Arizona probably. But hey, you can get a good draft pick, so you should.
I mean, Shane Wright's already rumored to be going here, so who knows?
Yeah, I mean, that's not so bad. But anyway, with Gordon and the Canadiens now, I would say, Gordon is honestly who built the Rangers that you're seeing right now. So I would say you guys definitely have a good GM in him. But he had his problems. He definitely had his problems. I wasn't crazy about all the moves he would make. His drafting was kind of spotty at times, and now it's kind of looking like, I don't know, with Lafreniere, man. Like, I'm not too sold on him anymore. So, Gordon was fine. I think he'll build a good team there. I think he's the right guy to have for what you're going through right now, because it kind of seems like Montreal is going through a similar thing that we went through with the Rangers. Like, we had our good runs to the conference final, and then we needed to, they called it a retool. So, you guys, I don't know if you guys are in a retool or in a rebuild. I think it's more of a rebuild.
Bergeron's already been through the retool. He's had a retool, a restart, a reset. I don't know what other words he wants to use, but recycle? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, so I would say I think Gordon's good for that job. He's the right guy. I think he's the right guy for you. And it's good to have a fresh voice because, Bergevin's been there so long. So I think he'll, but we'll see. I don't know. It's a tough job that he has over there. But with the Rangers, I'm obviously a huge fan. I've been watching them since 2005 after the lockout. and they came back. I've been a fan ever since. Seen a lot of ups, a lot of downs. Saw Lundqvist go on his huge run. That was pretty cool. So it's kind of weird not seeing him in that anymore. But
Shesterkin now, he's good.
yeah, I can't complain. Pretty good replacement, honestly. Definitely a good replacement.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's really good. He's phenomenal.
Yeah, but yeah, I like where we're at right now. I think, but I worry because they haven't really done well against playoff teams. You know, like they've struggled with playoff teams. They've beaten the teams that they've supposed to beaten, which is good. But like again, they lost to Vegas the other night. They lost to Nashville. They've gotten killed by Colorado. So it's like I'm happy that the Rangers are doing better right now. But my only question is with them is like is how real is it? You know?
Yeah, makes sense. You gotta beat the playoff teams to prove that you're legit, right? So that's kind of what you're dealing with now. Punchy, it's kind of what. Sorry, just to build on quickly to you, that's kind of what the Flames go through a lot too, right? Like for a while, they're seen as a team that's like fringe contending, but it seems like this year is something different. Yeah. So how would you kind of explain the difference between this year's Flames that seem to be, a real contender, and I think are much stronger than a lot of people give them credit for? Mm-hmm. So what would you say is the biggest difference from this year compared to last year for your Flame squad?
I think it's Daryl Sutter. I think he's the reason why there's been a change in mentality. They started off really, really hot, which in all honesty I didn't see coming. I thought they were going to be like 4th, 5th maybe. But no, they're playing well. And Johnny Gaudreau is having a great season. Monty, I want to see a little bit more out of him, but he's a little banged up. I think getting rid of Giordano, as much as it hurts the fan base, was in their best interest. And I think you're seeing the younger guys kind of step up. Dubé, I love watching him play. Yeah. Mangiapane too. I think he's got 12, 13 goals on the season now.
He's on fire. He's having a great year.
So you're seeing the right things coming from the Flames.
Nice. Okay, so you kind of attribute it a bit to the coaching and kind of the culture they've established there. And would you say you've seen like almost a complete buy-in? I know. In the past, Johnny Gaudreau and Elias Lindholm were seen as players who didn't really play very well in their own end. Maybe not Elias Lindholm as much, but especially Johnny Gaudreau. But it seems like this year, especially watching some of their tapes and their highlights, it seems like they've all bought in. Like I've seen Johnny Gaudreau work for pucks, unlike you did.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that old style with Gaudreau doesn't fly under Sutter, man. You'll be hitting the road. You'll be hitting the road real quick under Sutter. He doesn't take that shit.
So would you say it's like the complete buy-in?
I hope we're allowed. Are we allowed to swear?
Yeah,
before
you want to swear, like
all
maybe
right.
don't
a little bit, not crazy, nothing crazy, but okay.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. You can swear.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah, you're all good. And especially if you're getting like a heated debate, like if you want to start swearing, like that's all. Don't hold back.
Yeah. I'm sure me and Ponch are gonna be going on it.
Hey, you never know. But like Ponch, would you say it's kind of like the complete buy-in from the Rangers? It's kind of not the Rangers, from the Flames team. That's kind of attributed to your success as well as Markstrom's play.
So, because they're confident, which is really nice to see. They're backed by some great goaltending right now. They're there to like Markstrom's Markstrom and Vladar have had 12, 13 shutouts in the last maybe 20 something games.
That's exceptional. It's really good.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. And like when you're goaltending, like not to bag on David Rittich or there's a little bit of there's been a little bit of a carousel, like Mike Smith and Talbot. While they were like fine goaltenders, like they've had a bona fide like
elite
goaltender. Yeah. And I think they're just playing confident.
Yeah, honestly, I agree. Like they look like a really rejuvenated team compared to they did in the past. They looked very tired at times last year and the year before. They looked like a team that should win more than they did. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But now they even lost. Like they lost Giordano. They lose Sam Bennett, who looks really good in Florida. Like he looks really good. Like he looks like what they expected him to be in Florida. Yeah. And so you're looking at like, oh, how are they better without those two guys? But they somehow found a way. They found a way to get better, and it's, even Dan Vladar has looked really good. That's an underrated pickup as from the Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll move on to the World Juniors now. I know Nick's not a huge prospect guy as it
I'm
is.
sitting this one out. I need like I'm a now person, all right? Like
I
I
get
need
it.
to
I
see
get it.
what's happening now. I don't care about the future.
Oh, well, there you go. So I guess Ponchi and I will talk a bit more about the World
I'm just
Juniors.
like Mark Bergevin.
Yeah, jeez, yeah. Bergevin is interesting, man. Oh my god. Anyway, so we'll move on to the World Juniors. So Ponchi, you're a Flames fan,
Yeah,
but I think you're out in Australia, right, or New Zealand?
I'm in New Zealand.
So, which team are you gonna cheer for the World Juniors?
Oh, it's still Canada for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay. Okay. Good. So me too. And the player that I really wanted to focus on as a Habs fan as well, and he's a very prolific player in terms of the World Juniors, especially this year. He's going to take a big step forward in terms of his responsibility. Is Caden Gooley? He's a really big,
Mhm.
strong puck moving defenseman. He's seen as a guy who can kind of take over games at times. So that's very exciting for me as a prospect.
Yeah,
I'm not a prospect. I'm 22. I know I'm not making the league. Um, but no, as a Habs fan, that's really important for me to watch because Caden Gooley could be the future of this blue line. We haven't had a
mhm.
left-handed puck-moving defenseman like that, uh, and strong physical at the same time since
Yeah,
Weber, who's right-handed. You know what I mean? So it'd be nice to see a guy on the
yeah.
left side kind of carry the ice a little bit.
Mhm.
Romanov's strong and he's good at being physical and hitting players. He lines up really
Yeah,
nice hits, clean hits, but he doesn't have that same offensive instinct. So I'm really
right.
hoping Caden
Yeah.
Gooley can improve that. So that's kind of the guy I'm going to be watching in the World Juniors very closely as a Habs fan. Ponchi, but who's the guy you're looking at?
It'll be our number seventh pick, William Eklund playing for Sweden. So,
Okay.
uh, while I grew up in Calgary, I'm a Sharks fan.
Okay.
So number like William Eklund looked really good in his NHL
Yeah.
debuts
Very good.
in that the 9 game streak. He put up 4 points in 9 games, 4 assists, no goals, but for a 19-year-old just being in an NHL lineup at that age, he looked fantastic, and
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what he does against people his own age, especially against some of the tougher teams like Team Canada, Team Russia, and the
U.S.
United States. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and honestly, I guess it's kind of bringing it back to the Canadiens and the Sharks here. I think they made the right decision. They kind of copied the Vancouver Canucks mold with Elias Pettersson. Pettersson came in, I think, for 9 games. I don't even know if he even played the first 9 games, but they sent him back to Sweden for his first year right away.
Yeah.
But the Canadians drafted, and Kokaniemi was 17 and had just turned 18. So he's like even younger than Eklund, or I don't know if Eklund's like that too, but he's even younger than most prospects coming out of the draft. And the Canadians are like, we're going to keep him in the bottom 6 this year. And look what happened. He's starting to develop nicely out in not Calgary, Carolina. And he's starting to put up
Yeah.
more points. And I think that if maybe the Canadians did what the Sharks are doing with Eklund, I think if the Canadians had sent him back to Sweden,
Mhm.
let him play top 6 minutes, develop his offensive instincts a lot better against players who
Yeah.
are strong physical guys, and they're all men and they're grown men.
Yeah.
Some of them have played in the league, but they're not NHL caliber players, right? So I think Kotkaniemi could have developed nicely there. So I think the Sharks are making a very good decision in sending Eklund back as well.
Mhm.
As good as he looked, he needs to work on his size, but he can also work on his really good offensive instincts back home. So that's a really
Right.
good decision as well, I think. So that's the guy you're looking for in the juniors there. That's good to know. Who do you have winning the World Juniors? I'm not super familiar with all the lineups, but I'm going to bet on Team Canada just because I'm Canadian and I'm a homer. So I'm going to bet on Team Canada. But who do you have winning the World Junior Championship this year? If it happens, should happen, but if it happens,
I think Canada is like a surefire no brainer.
yeah,
The US looks good, but I think with Connor Bedard coming in,
yeah,
and I think Shane Wright's coming in,
really strong.
but I think majority of our draft picks have played already in the NHL, or
Yeah,
draft picks. Most of our World Juniors have played in the NHL, so they've had a little bit of time to kind of sink in and play on the big stages. Hopefully, we see a little bit of that transition over in the World Juniors.
Yeah, that makes sense. A bit of an experience that a lot of other teams don't have, like poise.
I think this is going to be one of those random years that like a European team wins.
Like
I think,
really?
I think like Finland's going to come out of nowhere and just take one.
I mean,
it does
Finland's
happen
a
every
good
few
team,
years.
so.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I found some prospects.
There you go. Okay,
We have homies on Canada and homies on the US. We have, I don't know if you guys know any of these dudes. We got Braden Schneider and Dylan Garand on Canada.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think Schneider. Yeah, I've heard of Schneider before. A defenseman, I think.
Yeah, he's like a top 11 pick or something. He's a high end pick.
Yeah. So I guess I'll probably watch a little World Juniors, so I'll probably be watching him.
You gotta watch.
And then, no, it's fun. I like watching the usually like the medal rounds. That's where I get interested in it. It is a good show. It's good hockey. It's very good hockey.
And we actually have a good question here from the viewers. So, Run Good Monkey asked us a good question. He said, "Hey guys, do you think the NHL season schedule will resume as normal after the break? NHL owners' revenues are on the line. ESPN TV contracts are also on the line. So, do you guys think?" I'll let Paunchy answer first, and then I'll go to Nick, and then I'll.
Oh, you see, Critter said the same thing. Critter's on that Finland wave.
Oh, I must have missed it. Sorry.
No, Critter said the same thing about Finland. He said that Finland.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And feel free to drop a follow, Monkey. We'll be streaming every Monday for our podcast, but I guess we can just do it like this. It's pretty easy. But so anyway, Paunchy, we'll start with you. Do you think the NHL will go back to the regular schedule? And I guess we can kind of branch out to our next subject as well. Do you think they should postpone and just shut it down and resume after the Christmas break, or do you think they should just shut it down for a long period of time, or any other ideas you might have? What do you think the NHL should do?
I think this is I think taking a break makes sense. It sucks that, like, as a fan, it's not great because we're missing out on our hockey, but I think they just need to, like, granted though, the last couple of years we've just been dealing with COVID and it's been wreaking havoc on us. So I think postponing the season makes more sense, and especially because they've gone through COVID protocol before. The owners and the PA, they all know that this isn't out of the option, or it isn't out of the option to postpone, or that we might have to take a break. So I think the best course of action is to continue with the break and then regroup. And I know it sucks for you, like, fantasy players. My team is currently all PPD, so I sympathize with you. But if a 2-week break means we get more hockey continuously, and those games do get rescheduled, then I think that might be the right move for now.
What do you think about that?
Well, to go off what Ponch is saying, I think they should postpone right now because like I don't like the whole half-assed, like, some teams are playing, some teams aren't playing. I don't think that's going to work. And then another big problem you're going to see with that is, like, if we keep doing it like this, all these games are going to have to get played. So if you keep kind of pushing a game back here, pushing a game back there, the season's going to end up running into August and September again, when they started in October. Whereas I feel like if they maybe just did a shutdown for like 2 weeks, let all the players go back home, let everybody regroup, and then come back and try to go back to normal. But at the same time, it's like, who knows with the way things are these days. It's kind of hard to look into a crystal ball and be like, this is what's going to happen, or they should do this, they should do that. We don't know. To answer Monkey's question there, I think they're going to push to keep playing because the NHL probably can't afford to lose another season like they have. I mean, they've been playing the seasons, but they can't do another broken, whatever, like, postponed season. They can't do that right now. They have to keep pushing through. They don't have the money to afford it. Like the NBA is different. The NBA can do whatever it wants. The NFL, they'll be fine. Hockey is such a small sport that, each game really does matter. And that's a fresh set of eyeball. Like, you miss like Wednesday night, the Rangers were going to play the Habs. I think that was going to be on ESPN. That's a big game. That's a big game.
Yeah. Two big audiences there, yeah.
Yeah, and this is the first year they're on ESPN, and this is what's happening. Of course, it's not to the fault of anybody here, but it's the reality, and it's like this is really the NHL's time to shine. So I think they're going to just keep trying to push through. I don't think they should. I think they should kind of take a more strategic approach and not just be like, oh, we'll just postpone that one. Because right now you're seeing it's like, they play a few games in a day, and then the next day this game gets canceled. Like Pittsburgh, New Jersey just got canceled, and it's just, you have to, whatever the strategy is, it has to be like a uniform one. It can't just be like, well, we're gonna do this for the Canadian U.S. games, and for the U.S. games, we'll let them play. Like it's just, it kind of, you can see it's like maybe they did think it through, but it's just, it doesn't look good in execution right now. Yeah. It looks messy. Sure. It looks and again, it's a messy situation. I don't think any of us would be able to handle it, to be fair. Yeah. But it's just from the outside right now, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good for hockey.
Yeah, so. I definitely agree with a lot what you said there, and it's very tricky. I think one of the better course of actions would be to do it. Unfortunately, I have to disagree with the fact that I think they have to postpone at least a couple weeks, because this is ridiculous. No one wants to watch half of the Laval Rocket play on the Habs team. You know what I mean? I think across the board on any team, I just know the Laval Rocket by heart, so that's why I said the AHL squad for the Canadians. Like, no one wants to watch half of an AHL squad play on their NHL team and potentially miss out on the playoffs because that game had to be played, not because of injury and poor planning, but because of COVID protocol and players who might not even have COVID being shut down for reasons. You know what I mean? Just because they might have it. So it's tricky. It's tricky. I think that the NHL should just say, you know what, screw it. Whichever team has the most games played, shut them down and make it so every team gets to that number of games played. So let's say that, like, I know the Canadians have played 31. So let's just assume the Canadians have played the most games, right? Yeah. Get every other team in the league to 31 games played. I don't care how you do it. Play whoever they have to play. Get it done. And then realign the divisions. Because I think the Canadian-US border might have another issue again like it did last year. So just run the Canadian division again. It worked last year. It got a lot of good TV ratings in Canada. I know maybe not in the US as much because Canadian teams have a big fan base, and so maybe some smaller US markets maybe missed out on some viewing. But yeah, I think it'd be a good idea just to do what they did last year. Get the Canadian division going, get the regional divisions going in the US. In that way. That way there's less travel for the players, less COVID risk for the players and personnel and staff, and less transport costs. So that would actually reduce a lot of costs in the league in itself. You'd have almost like a regional bubble in a way for the teams, and then finish out the season. Maybe don't go to 82, maybe go to 56, right, if you have to. But they'll probably want to go to 82 because they want to make money. So they'll go to 82, but play out the rest of the season like this. You've already gotten 31 games in at least, so it's not a full. It's only 51 more games of just regional matchups, and that's fun because it boosts your rivalries. You'll get a lot more rivalries out of this year, and then you'll play the playoffs, and next year we can go back to normal. But for the state of the world right now, with the low vaccination rates as compared to what they should be, as well as just the state of COVID, like it just doesn't work. You can't have Montreal travel all the way to Arizona, then to LA, then to San Jose, and then back to Montreal. It doesn't work. Like, players are going to get shut down. Then they're going to be stuck in a different city for 2 weeks in a hotel room doing nothing. It'll be hard for them to train, hard for them to eat properly, hard for them to can't see their family for Christmas. Like, it just shut it down for 2 weeks, figure out a regional schedule, and play out the season. I don't care what you have to do, play out the season, but this right now doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So I'm sure they'll find a way. Gary Bettman's a very smart guy. As much as a lot of people hate on him, he knows what he's doing, in the sense that he's a smart guy. He'll figure something out that works for everybody. We might not see it that way, but I'm sure he'll find a way that makes the owners happy. They'll make the TV contracts happy. NHLPA somewhat happy. Like, he'll find a way that makes everyone sort of happy. So I'm sure he'll figure it out in that sense.
Yeah.
So let's move on to our last subject. We're 30 minutes in. I think it'll be a bit of a shorter first episode today, and then we can kind of talk about fun, random stuff at the end. So we'll talk about our early cup winners. So I'll start by saying one. So let's all start by saying our Eastern Conference winner. So I think a lot of us are going to pick the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's just the easy pick. I think it's also the smart pick. They're playing without Kucherov right now, still. Braden Point was out. Anthony Cirelli's out. And they're still winning games. Stamkos is putting up a point per game this year. So he looks rejuvenated and ready to go. Come playoff time, when you have Kucherov and Point, Sergachev, Hedman, McDonough, Vasilevsky, Killorn. Corey Perry looks really good. He was a point per game for like a solid 11-game stretch with Patrick Maroon and Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. Like, their fourth line was playing better than the Habs' first line. So, for me, the Habs, every line looks
yeah,
good.
That's not really saying much.
It's the fourth line. Like, I'm just saying, like, that's impressive. You know, Corey Perry, Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, and Patrick Maroon are playing the likes of Suzuki Toffoli and Caulfield, or Suzuki and whoever the hell's on his wings on any given night. Like, that's impressive. And so I think the Lightning's an easy pick for me to win 3 in a row. Just the obvious pick. I like their depth. Matthew Joseph looks really good this year. What's his name? That new guy that came in this year. Radish. Radish looks good, and so does Kachuk. All their prospects that were kind of developing all look really good. So, you know, the Lightning's a well-built franchise. I think the Detroit Red Wings and the Lightning are going to be two franchises that compete because they both had Yzerman. So I think within the next couple of years, we'll see those two teams competing. But for now, Lightning are the easy pick for me in the Eastern Conference. What do you guys say? I'll move on to Nick. I got Ponchi first last time, so Nick, I'll let you go first on this one.
All right, so my choice was originally Tampa, but I don't want to sell out here, so I'm going to go with Washington. I'm going to say Washington's going to win their second cup. I think Ovi is a man on a mission right now. He's going to break Gretzky's record, and I think he wants to add another cup to his collection. And they've been good. This team has been good for years.
Yep.
And they broke through once, and it's usually the teams that have done it before. They're usually the ones that can get it done again. You know, that's kind of how it is in hockey. So I would say that I think Washington is probably the team out of the East that I think can get it done. They got the build, they got good offense, they got a solid decor. Goaltending's a little iffy, but I think they have I think they have a good enough team where they can kind of get away with, you know, average goaltending, which they have.
Yeah, so, depends when Samsonov decides to play.
Yeah. But yeah, I like
Washington. Fantasy hockey, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. But
we'll move on to Ponchi. But yeah, no, Obi's on a tear. It's crazy.
Yeah. So the Lightning are like, it makes sense.
Don't sell out, Punch. Don't sell out on me. Come on, bro.
Sell out, Ponchy.
Come on, don't do it.
Join the dark side.
But I like Carolina. Carolina's looking really good right now.
That's fair.
Because Ronta's their backup, and he's been playing fine. Freddie Anderson, he's looking really good. Even though they lost Dougie Hamilton last year in free agency, like, Nakis is playing well, Tervainen's playing well, Aho's playing well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like I know the Lightning are the smart choice, but I think the fun choice is the Carolina Hurricanes.
I like that. And you know what? You're saying they missed Dougie Hamilton, but honestly, I think their decor almost looks better without him. As much as I dislike this guy, and Nick, I don't know if you can speak to the same way as I do, but I don't like Tony DeAngelo, like his attitude, but he's a great hockey player, and he
very good player,
really good,
very good player. And that was the only thing that I was upset about during that whole situation was the fact that I still knew he was a good player, and I'm like, all right, I get it. People don't like him in the locker room, fine. But I knew he was a good player still. I mean, he was just coming off that monster year offensively, and they were just so quick to throw him out. Like, and over, you know, like, listen, I love Georgiev. He's a really good goalie. But over Georgiev, like, come on, find a way to make it work. You know, like, like DeAngelo on that blue line right now for us.
You'd be sick, yeah, it's tough because I think there's also something with Keandre Miller though. I think he had an issue with Keandre, and I think that's why they let him go because he had an issue with Georgiev and Keandre, and they're like,
that's right. It was.
Let this guy
it's
go.
just it's a tough situation, man. It sucks that all that happened.
If Rod the Bod, Brendan Moore can figure it out, with Tony Rod the Broad, Jesus, with Tony D'Angelo in
We're getting close
Carolina.
to the end of the episode here. We got to cut it.
Yeah, I'm struggling. So we got Tony
lazy slurring his
D'Angelo,
words.
Shea, Brady Shea down there. I like him. I think he's having a bounce back year. You got Slavin and
Jacob
Pesci.
Slavin. Yeah.
Slavin and Pesci's a really good unit out there. And then you got some other good depth defensemen. I think they have Trevor Van Riemsdyk, who I've always liked as a defensive defenseman. I've always liked him. He looks pretty good there. And then I don't know the other guys, but they have a few other guys down there too. Like they have a really good decor. Freddie Anderson has a much better defensive core in front of him than he did in Toronto. So the only issue I have with the Carolina Hurricanes, and the reason why I didn't pick them, is because of playoff Freddie and because they're not proven yet. That's the only reason why I didn't pick them. I picked the Tampa Bay Lightning because they're proven, but I do agree with your pick. I like your picks, both of your picks actually, because I think those are the three. That's the three-headed horse in the East. I think those are the three teams that are kind of leading the way, with Florida like right in there. So it's gonna be an interesting one this year. I'm really excited for the playoffs this year. It's gonna be fun. And then we'll move on to the West. So I'll start us off quickly. Ponchi, I think you're gonna be proud of me here. I'm picking the Calgary Flames, and the reason why I'm picking the Calgary Flames is because they're built for the playoffs. I like the way their team's built. My only issue is the size of Gaudreau on that first line, as well as Manchapong. They have a lot of smaller forwards on that team, but I think their bottom six is really strong, especially in the corners. I like Lucic in there. I think Lucic has looked solid. I like the way Dubé plays. He's a little feisty too. So I think the Flames are really built well for the playoffs, especially their decor. So, and their goaltending. Markstrom's proven he can carry a team in the playoffs. If he had somewhat anything in terms of goal scoring in Vancouver last year in the playoffs, I think they could have gone much further than they even did. But not last year, the year before. In the bubble playoffs, they could have gone even further. And I think Markstrom got injured. Something with Demko, who played it phenomenal as well. So like if either of those goalies had more offense in Vancouver, like that would be a wagon, right? And better defense in front of them. That'd be a wagon in Vancouver. But obviously it didn't work out. And now he's in Calgary, who has, I think, better defense. And I think they'll go pretty far with a better structure under Daryl Sutter. So I look forward to the playoffs. I think Calgary's going to surprise a lot of people this year. I like their team. I like their depth, especially on defense and in nets. So, and if Markstrom gets injured, I think Dan Vladar is a surprise pick, be a really good goal as well. So, Ponchi, I'll go with you next. I started with Nick last time. So, Ponchi, who's your pick to win the Western Conference Championship, or win the Stanley Cup, I should say?
In the West, I've got the Avs. The Avs make sense. You got your three.
Ellen, dude. Come on. Oh my God. What a courageous pick from Ponch.
Okay.
It's better than the Lightning, at least.
Okay.
All right, let's just talk about how good Nathan McKinnon is for the rest of the
video. He's fantastic. But yeah, you have your three-headed monster. You have Cale Makar. You've got Newhook's playing fairly well. You've got Byram, who's playing fairly well. It's their goaltending that's kind of shaky right now.
Yeah.
But aside from that, like...
They have Kemper, no?
Yeah, but he's shaky this year.
He's been shaky?
I had him in fantasy hockey. I dropped him so fast. The guy would put up either a 930 or an 885. I dropped him so fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, Punchy, about goaltending, Pierre LeBrun, last time Colorado was in town in Montreal, he dropped a bomb on TSN. He was like, what if? And Pierre LeBrun wouldn't throw this out there if he didn't think it was even remotely possible. So he thought it was remotely possible, at least. Far-fetched, but remotely possible. He's like, what if Montreal and Colorado struck a deal? Joe Sakic, and at the time he said Bergevin, but now it's Jeff Gordon making the calls. Well, imagine Carey Price in Colorado. Imagine that kind of goaltending in front of that kind of team. I don't know how the money would work. I'm sure they could move on from Johnson. Like, that guy makes $6 million a year. I'm sure Gordon retains some salary. They can make something work here. Maybe Kemper back the other way. I don't know. I'd keep Kemper, maybe the other goalie back the other way. But imagine Carey Price behind that D-line. Behind that team. Imagine.
That'd be cool. But, like, I don't think it's going to work. Because you have the potential of having to give up Makar or picks. Or even, like, Byram.
Yeah.
I don't think Colorado wants... And no disrespect to Carey Price.
I know.
Well... No, it's not that they wouldn't want Carey Price. It's that they wouldn't want to trade a younger fellow who they can still develop to get like to get a little bit over the hump. I think they'd rather trade for like because Kemper's okay.
Fleury in Chicago.
I think Fleury would
I
make
was
more
gonna say
sense.
that. I was gonna say the same thing.
Retain a little bit of salary.
Fleury's going somewhere.
Yeah.
Fleury's going somewhere. He's not
Oh
staying
my
in
god,
Chicago.
I feel so bad for Fleury, dude. He's
playing really good.
He's
actually he's playing very good right now. Like he had a really slow start, but he turned it around and he's been playing very good over the past like 10 games. He's been solid.
It seems really so solid. For Fleury, like I've been watching a lot of the highlights for the Chicago Blackhawks. I think as soon as he realized, oh yeah, okay, I can't trust anybody in front of me. I think as soon as I clicked in his mind, he's been set for everything. Like he sees Seth Jones breaking the puck, he's like, no, I'm ready for a shot, and he's like set and ready. Like he seems like he adapted. Like in Vegas, he was used to having a very good, trustworthy defensive squad in front of him. Like Vegas has a very good structure. Montreal somehow exposed them last year. I don't know what Montreal did to Vegas last year, but whatever. They're playing Montreal was playing otherworldly last year in the playoffs, but Vegas has a very good structure. You got Pietrangelo, you got Shea Theodore, McNabb looks very good, and other guys, Martinez. Like they got a very good decor. So Fleury was kind of used to being able to trust his defenseman a bit more. But this year in Chicago, like bro, like Seth Jones he's a great defenseman. I think Seth Jones gets overhyped sometimes and underhyped other times. But it's just Seth Jones. Yeah, Caleb Jones looks good. So both Joneses look decent in Chicago. Like Seth Jones has a lot of points. Caleb Jones looks actually very solid. I like Caleb Jones's game.
He potted one in OT the other night, right?
Yeah, but
Washington.
Nice. Everybody else in that decor, like Connor Murphy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, come on, like, or the other guy who's playing with Connor Murphy. Like, I looked at them at one point, 15 games in, they were a minus 15.
Eesh.
Like, bro, it's 15 games into the year.
I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that coming with Chicago. I thought Chicago was gonna be close to the playoffs. I didn't think they were gonna make it, but I thought they were gonna put up a fight. And seeing this, is like, shit.
Yeah, they look better under their new coach King, but I think Jeremy Colden had just given up. It looked like he'd given up. Like I remember at one point he called a timeout and just said, "Here, guys, take the board." He didn't even bother. He just handed them the board and they drew up their own thing. So I think he had given up on the team, and I think they'd given up on him. So I think with their new coach, like they've looked better. Like Chicago's not in the basement anymore, or they're not as much in the basement as they were. Like they've been climbing a bit. So we'll see where they go. But like, I think they're a good team. And sorry, Nick, we kind of got on a tangent here, but we'll move on to you for your Western Conference pick to win the Stanley Cup. Who would you have winning the Cup?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking through the standings right now. I don't even know. I think it's just gonna come out of the East. I mean,
hey, if you want to be bold,
it's tough. I don't know. Colorado too.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, all right. Okay, Vegas isn't winning anything. They're done. They had their chance. They're not winning anything. And they picked up Eichel. That's not going to work. I love Eichel, great player. Not going to work in the playoffs. Yeah. Anaheim, no way. They're too. It's too. You know, they'll
too early for them.
I hope they make it, but they're not. No way. Calgary, maybe. But we haven't really seen them do anything in the playoffs yet, so what should convince me otherwise this time? Minnesota, you're just going to have to shut down Kaprizov, and that's it, so they're not winning anything. Nashville, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. They're like one of those stingy teams. Them and St. Louis are just stingy teams that could, I don't know, win a cup, but they could probably go to the final.
Yeah.
Probably.
I find St. Louis and Nashville, those two teams, you're just waiting for them to drop off. Like Nashville, I've been waiting for 4 years for them just to be terrible, and it hasn't happened. Like I don't know what they're eating over there in Nashville. I don't know what they're drinking, what the players are having for their nutrition or something, but like, they have Michael
catfish.
Yeah, it's the catfish.
It's a catfish.
Yeah, bro, because they got Michael McCarron on their NHL squad. I'm like, man, this guy's not going to make the NHL. Like, he had so many chances in Montreal to prove that he could make it. And now here he is. He's got a full-time spot. He's playing well. And I'm like, what the hell's going on there in Nashville? Like, they just take random guys, put them in the league, and they all play great. So I don't know what they're doing. But they're always, like, Nashville's always that team that's, like, not contending per se, but they're always around the playoffs. Like I haven't seen them bad in a long time. So that's nice to see at least. So,
but I'll give you my pick.
Let's go.
Edmonton.
Oh,
I think Edmonton's gonna do it.
Oh.
McDavid has to win a cup at some point. Why not this year?
Yeah.
Did you hear that? There was audible disgust from two people.
Look, I mean, I don't really want to see it either, but he's got to win one. He's got to win one. And right at their peak, him and Draisaitl's peak. But also in the chat right now, we got Critter talking about the Leafs.
We'll bring up the Leafs after.
Maybe the Leafs. Maybe, yeah, we should talk about the Leafs.
Yeah,
so maybe the Leafs to the East.
Let's finish with Edmonton, though. We need to talk about Edmonton.
All right.
Said that.
Oh, I don't think so.
There's only two people to talk about. It's McDavid and Draisaitl, and the question is, can they carry them? Can they carry them?
No.
Yes.
No, they won't. You want to know why they won't?
Well, Crosby and Malkin did it in Pittsburgh.
No. Crosby and Malkin had Letang. No, they had other players.
Whoa. And they had Kessel. Let's not.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the 09. I'm talking about 09. Okay.
Oh,
when they were young. When they were on the come up. Yeah.
Different league.
And they weren't getting as many points. I think it's an easier league for Draisaitl and McDavid to carry now.
They also had Jordan Staal when Jordan Staal was Jordan Staal. Like they had good players around there. And like they had other good players, like James Neal. Bro, you're forgetting James
Neal. Neal came later. Neal wasn't on that 09.
Well, then it was Mark Recchi was on that team then.
Yes.
And Hossa. No, Hossa was on that team.
Hossa wasn't there. Yeah.
But no, it's Mark Recchi.
And they had Fleury too.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh was a little better.
They're a much better team. They don't have Koskinen in their net. I'm sorry. I love Mike Smith.
But arguably, Draisaitl and McDavid right now are better than Malkin and Crosby were then. Yes, arguably.
I agree, but here's the issue with that. The league will never let them win the way it's structured. They're never going to win. You want to know why? The refs. The refs never call a penalty against Connor McDavid in the playoffs. He's never going to draw a penalty. He didn't draw one last year. He didn't draw one the year before. I think he's drawn the least amount of penalties in the playoffs from a player of that caliber in a long time. He just doesn't draw penalties. We saw him got tackled by Kyle Connor. We saw him get tripped by a guy into the boards, and then the other guy picks the puck, goes the other way. We see everything. He gets slashed, hooked, tackled to the ice by two players on Winnipeg. Not a single call was drawn by McDavid. It doesn't matter. They don't care. The refs don't care about him. The league doesn't care about him.
Yeah.
They just use him for clout, and they don't care if he wins. They don't care. It is what it is. The league wants the rough team to win. That's just how it works in the playoffs. Until they call the game the same in the regular season and the playoffs, you're rarely ever going to see the team that has the most skill win the cup. And that's why Tampa's built so well. They have the skill and the grit. They have the Corey Perrys. They have the Pat Maroons. And even to a certain extent, Braden Point. They have an Anthony Cirelli. They have those players who are going to win the battles and be dirty. And they have the players who can score. The Oilers have the guys who can score on the power play and who can score pretty well at 5-on-5. But when the game starts becoming a crapshoot as to what's being called, the Oilers aren't built to win. They're just not.
Yeah.
So that's my issue. Until the refs change the way they call the game to be the same in the playoffs and regular season, the Edmonton Oilers are never winning a cup. With McDavid and Crosby. McDavid and Draisaitl. Unless they somehow get Crosby and Stamkos and stack this squad up. Like they're not, or a better defenseman behind them. Like Darnell Nurse is getting there and he's kind of there, but he's not that offensive elite guy. He's a really good shutdown guy, but he needs someone more consistent than Tyson Barrie at 5-on-5. You know what I mean? And goaltending. Koskinen lets in the worst goals I've ever seen. This guy can take a fluttering wrist shot and make it look like a sniper. I don't know what to tell you guys. Unless Mike Smith can play otherworldly like he can sometimes, even despite being like 42, this guy's a legend. I love Mike Smith, but they need someone. They need someone else. It's not Stuart Skinner.
Yeah,
it's not it yet. Evan Bouchard's not quite there in terms of a right-handed puck-moving guy for Darnell Nurse. They need something. I don't know what. Maybe they can go after Jeff Petrie again from Montreal and get him healthy and ready to go. Like he'd look good there. Maybe they can go after Jake Allen from Montreal. Like Jake Allen's looked. What's hidden in this bad Montreal season? I mean, I'm talking from the Habs perspective, but like someone like Jake Allen, he's looked really good. Do you think Jake Allen or Fleury or some other goalie to play? I think Edmonton has a chance, but right now, I'm sorry, like they're not playoff. I don't know. I went on a tangent there. I apologize, but it is what it is. And now let's move on to the Leafs. We'll move on to the Leafs. Ponchi, we'll start with you. Where do you see the Leafs this year? Like, we'll end it after this, by the way. But where do you see the Leafs? What's your stance on them? Are they a contender, pretender? What do you see them as? What's your take?
Um, well, like going off the trend, I don't see them making it out of the first. I want them to make it to the second.
Me too.
Like I want them to like John Tavares. He got a little bit of hate. Fair enough. Long Island loser, pajama boy. You hate to see it, but you know he's got a good squad there in Toronto. You've got like Matthews, and I like Marner. I really like him.
Me too.
But like when you have more penalties for throwing the puck over the glass than points in the playoffs, it's not great. Like and you held out for an 11 mil contract or something like
crazy. It's 10.5 or
something ridiculous. It's on the higher end. Yeah. Like it's almost Erik Karlsson money.
It's 10.8, I think, something around that. 10.7 something.
Ooh, but yeah. And you know the playoffs are different, but still, like you asked for 10.8, you got to be playing with, you got to be playing to that standard, not just in the regular season, but in the playoffs.
No, I agree 100%. Yeah. And to build off what you said with Marner, it's the same thing I said about McDavid and Draisaitl. Like, I love Marner. I love the way he plays, and I want that kind of player to win the cup. Like, I want the skilled players who are able to, like, Marner's able to be physical in a lot of ways. Like, he's not super heavy hitting, but like he's able to win puck battles. He's able to go in the corners and lift sticks and win those. Yeah, Kev player in the chat saying to trade Marner. I would not do that, but until the league changes the way they call the game to make it consistent, so regular season and playoffs, I want it to be consistent. I want to know what's a penalty. Until they call it properly, the Leafs aren't going to win either. Maybe, actually, well, the way the Leafs are built this year, I think they have a better chance than they did in the past because Marner is not the be-all,
I think so
end-all.
too.
But
I think so too.
Like, Marner's not going to be as effective in the playoffs as he is on the regular season. Just because of that alone. Like, he'll get tripped, he'll get slashed, he'll get hooked, and it won't get called. And then he'll stay to the outside. He'll get scared and stay to the outside. And that's happening against Montreal. Like Montreal, I will not even hide behind the fact that we won. I'm gonna say that Toronto was the better team. They deserved to win that series, but they just got beat up. They got beat up by Ben Sherrod and Shea Weber and Joel Edmondson, and in some ways Jeff Petrie and Josh Anderson. They got beat up, and obviously I think if Tavares doesn't get hurt, I think they probably win, and that's unfortunate. But you know, you got to play through injuries, and I know what happens. Like Montreal tried to play through Carey Price getting injured. That did not go well against the Rangers, funny enough. But you know, you got to play through those injuries. You still got to win through them, and they couldn't. And Montreal won by beating them up. That's just what happened. That's what we know happened. And now Toronto's bolstered up. They got Wayne Simmons. They got some good guys down there. I really love Michael Bunting as well. He offers that grit. I think Andre Kasha's got a really good underrated skill as well. So I think Toronto. Like, if I didn't pick Tampa, I probably would have picked Toronto or Washington. So I think Toronto is going to be really, really good this year. And my prediction for Toronto is they're going to win a round. Calling it now. They're breaking the curse. They're winning.
I agree. I think they're going to get through.
I hope so too. I'm knocking on wood.
So Nick, what's your prediction for Toronto? I kind of stole your spotlight.
I'm keeping an eye on chat here, and they're talking about Price standing on his head in that series, and he did. Definitely stood on his head. I think Toronto's luck has just been ridiculous. Like that, running into that version of Price was just so tough for them because they had that series. They had it in the bag, done, and Price just said no.
But everyone knows that. Like that, the same thing happened in the bubble with Pittsburgh. The only reason why they didn't do a best of 3 for the bubble, like, intro series, I don't know, like you know what I mean, like the round robin to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
The NHL playoffs on the Stanley Cup playoffs, like that first round there, like where Montreal was against Pittsburgh. The reason why, and the NHLPA brought this up in their reason as to why it has to be 5 and not 3, was Carey Price. They literally mentioned him by name. They said, look, we don't want a guy like Carey Price stealing a series by winning only 2 games. He can steal 2 games, but stealing 3 is much harder than stealing 2, so they made it a best of 5 instead of a best of 3. He still stole 3 games because it's Carey Price. But as a Habs fan, I love Carey Price. He's the best goalie I've ever seen play. But anyway, the point is, they had to make an exception because of Carey Price. So like, I don't blame Toronto for losing to Montreal because Carey Price is just a freaking legend in the playoffs. Everyone knows it and everyone expects it. So like, they could have planned for that.
Except against us.
Well, no, he got injured. He got injured in game one.
Yeah.
I blame
shout out
Chris Kreider. Okay.
Hank was gonna beat you guys. I
don't know. I think it would have been a closer series than it was.
It would have been. Well, Tokarski played really good.
He played okay.
Tokarski played really good.
But the Habs are like unequivocally a completely different team in front of Price.
Yes.
Like, I watched them play in front of Price, and I watched them play in front of anybody else. Allen not as bad actually, but like even in front of Allen, they look like a different team. They make different passes. They make different plays. They just look worse. They look less confident in front of any other goalie. So I think that's a problem as well. But anyway, Nick, I do think you guys deserve that series. I'm not even trying to rehash that. I was very emotional about that series, though.
Yeah.
But
in the past,
we can definitely bring that up another time. But
yes, but at Toronto, I think this is as good as a chance as they've had. And to answer Papa, I did not pick Toronto to win last year. I said when they went up 3-1, I'm like, they're blowing this. I knew for a fact. I was like, they're blowing. Yeah, I was telling all my friends like they're gonna blow this series. It's just gonna happen, and it did. But now, eventually, you got to learn from it. And where I see them right now is where Washington was, right before they won the cup, when nobody expected them to do anything. And everyone was calling them soft. Everyone was saying, Ovechkin can't play in the playoffs. Backstrom can't play in the playoffs. They can't get it done. They can't get it done. Everybody gave up on them. And bang, out of nowhere, they won the cup.
I was so happy.
So I'm not saying, I don't know if Toronto gets the cup, but they're going to get through a round. They're going to get through. They've been playing, like Critter is saying in chat there, they've been getting through rounds here. They've been playing, they haven't been winning, but they've been playing each year in the playoffs. Yeah. You're going to learn something eventually. And, each year that these guys get in the league, that's more and more experience. And eventually they're going to have to break through. They have to.
Yeah.
They're too good. They're too good not to break through. And they have enough depth too. They have the guys. They have a good team. Really, if you just take the Toronto Maple Leafs logo off of that sweater and just sent that team on the ice, everyone would be like, come on, they got to win. Like, it's just because it's the Leafs, so everyone, they're easy to beat up on, Yeah,
it's a good point. And I think they're definitely missing one more piece on that blue line. I think if they can upgrade Justin Hall to someone better than him and have that same top four, Riley, Muzz, and Brody, and someone else better than Hall, that team is really, really good. And yeah, Nick, I think you make a great point. Like, just because it's the Toronto Maple Leafs and everyone thinks they have a jinx, everyone just doubts them, and that definitely leaves some players down themselves. So I think they are in the best position possible to win a round this year, and I think they're just missing that one extra piece to take them over the edge as a right-handed shot. Their best right-handed shot on the blue line is either Liljegren or Justin Hall. And that's not good enough. I know Brody plays the off wing, but like you need at least one guy up there who can play the right side really well and with a right-handed shot. It does make a difference. We've all played hockey. We all played hockey before. I'm sure you've played as well. Like being a right-handed shot on the right side is different than a left-handed shot on the right side. It's much harder to corral pucks off the boards. It's much harder to play your position when you're an off wing. So it works for certain players, but I think Toronto can improve that as well. So anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to the end here. So that's going to do it for our first episode of the podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. You can find it here on YouTube. Here on Twitch at SomeLazyGuy09 or on YouTube, also SomeLazyGuy09. I'm going to give a quick shout out to NXGnick once again. So NXGnick on Twitch and YouTube, as well as Paunchy. So Ponch_YYC. You can check him out on Twitch as well. If you guys want to throw any little announcements that you're doing, anything big you want to announce, like maybe something you're doing on YouTube or Twitch, I'll leave it to you guys now. So we'll start with Paunchy, then go to Nick. Just let us know what you're doing. Let us know what you're up to.
Like I said earlier, my biggest goal is to hit affiliate before the new year, or just about as the new year starts. So that's my big goal right now.
All right, let's go show some love and support to Paunchy. Help him hit his affiliate here. Basically, all you got to do is have. I think you're missing what I was missing, is having that average of 3 viewers in your stream. So if you're ever doing some work around the house and you want to just hit a little, you can just go into the stream, tap !lurk and mute the tab, and not the stream. Just mute the tab if you want. if you're doing other work and you can't hear any other sound, you can just mute the tab, and I'll give him a lot of support. And once he gets to affiliate, it doesn't really matter where his average viewers are anymore, as long as he's just streaming consistently. So that would be really helpful for him. Like, I've been trying to do that as much as I can. So if you guys want to go show some love to Ponchi, you can do that. Nick,
Lazy. Come on, bro. Oh,
I'm sorry.
He's unraveling.
I haven't eaten yet today. I gotta get some food in me.
All right. You can find me every morning on twitch.tv, NXGnick. Do the morning show, 9:30 a.m. The end time is an enigma. We kind of just go with whatever's going on that day. You never know. Could be 12 o'clock, could be 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But it's always a blast, and I'd love to see you guys there if you can make it. As of course, if like Lazy was saying, you can always lurk. We appreciate all that support. The tabs go a long way. Trust us, they really do. And other than that, I'm on YouTube, NXGnick as well. I'm making hockey videos specifically about the Rangers. I do in-game after the game, after they play, I take notes on the game and I talk about the game that I just watched. And other than that, I'm probably going to do some IRL stuff on that channel and some gaming content there as well. But we'll see where things go. That'll probably be later. That'll probably be in the new year that I start doing stuff like that. But that's pretty much where I'm at right now. So if you guys have the chance, if you check me out there, I'd really appreciate it. And thank you to Lazy for hosting this. Absolute beauty. Ponch. That was a blast.
Great stuff, Lazy. Great stuff, Nick.
Yeah, got you guys. Don't worry. And so thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate all the support. Shout out to Critter. Shout out to Papa Clutch. I think I saw Ellie in here at one point. Kev Player. We got a few people in here. So appreciate all you guys stopping by. If you want to tune in live for our podcast, you can. So you can ask us questions, and I will be able to look at every chat because obviously as we're talking, and I'm also the host, so I'm trying my best to look at the chat. Also look at the subjects as I have them lined up. So I will do my best. So if you want to drop a follow, some Lazy Guy 09 on Twitch, you can tune in. We're going to be streaming this on Mondays, most likely either at 1 p.m. Eastern or 2 p.m. Eastern. We haven't determined the time yet. This is our first episode, so it will be very fluid and flexible. So we'll see based on our schedules how we want to do it. Especially I'll be starting a full-time job in the new year from 9 to 5. So we're definitely going to have to find a different time at that point. So yeah, I do appreciate all the support, and we'll see you in the next one. This will be posted on YouTube later this afternoon, and we'll have some segments going as well. So be sure to check me out on YouTube, Some Lazy Guy 09. I also stream 4 times a week on Twitch, so if you want to tune in, just have some fun there. It's always a good time. It's always nice to have you. I interact with you guys a lot. So yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. And if you guys have any name suggestions for our podcast, we haven't named it yet. So if anybody has any name suggestions, be sure to drop them in the comment section on YouTube, or drop them in the stream chat here, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, peace. Weird little outro. I don't know.